usually don't comment on the kind of shit that's happening to Mayor Eric Adams in New York City. I mean, as far as city mayors are concerned, I know there's corruption all over the place, political corruption, which is not to suggest that every politician is corrupt. But damn, it just seems like a lot of them are, right? And I'm talking about black, white, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, Jew, Gentile. It makes no difference. And in the case of Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, oh, Lord have mercy, has this son of a bitch been charged, indicted? Well, he has. I guess has he been indicted? Yeah, he's been indicted on 5 federal charges, including bribery, fraud, soliciting illegal foreign campaign donations, on and on and on. And I watched an impromptu press conference. I guess it was a press conference, although he didn't take any questions I'm aware of, in front of Gracie Mansion, the official residence of New York mayors, earlier today. I guess it was before noon. And Mayor Eric Adams was standing out there with a whole clutch of his supporters, and it was usual bullshit. This is the thing that fascinates me. I don't care if it's black or white, Democrat or Republican. When a major politician like this guy, a senator or the mayor of the biggest city in the country or what have you, when they're charged with these federal crimes, boy, the shit that comes out of their mouth is always the same. Have you ever noticed that? I look forward to being completely exonerated by these charges in a court of law, and I'm hoping that the court of law soon gets the shit together so I can prove my innocence. Oh, come the fuck on. I mean, come on. I guess, and we're going to get, if it hasn't started already, although Mayor Eric Adams kind of alluded to it, that there might be a component of racism here. Well, that's bullshit, because the federal attorney in New York who brought the charges just happens to be a black man too. But you know, a charge of racism, or a charge of, which a lot of black politicians fall back on, or the charge of being anti-Christian, which is what a lot of white politicians fall back on, right? I mean, they always use that, either race or religion, to escape the fact that they're goddamn criminals. Now, I'm not a judge. I'm not a prosecutor, defense attorney, a jury. So I certainly can't sit here and say Eric Adams is guilty. Well, I could, which is what I believe. But, you know, all right, the man deserves his day in court. Have at it, Mayor Adams, just have at it. But being indicted on 5 federal charges, and the prosecutors said this began, the investigation of this guy began way back when he was the top elected official in Brooklyn. And the investigation continued. You know, he was a former cop, wasn't he? Top cop? I don't know if he was the chief of police or whatever he was in New York, because I don't follow New York City politics anymore. I don't follow Atlanta city politics. I mean, to me, on a city level, you're going to find an equal amount of corruption among the politicians as you're going to find on the federal level. It's just on the federal level, they're much more involved, or much bigger sums of money or bribery involved, and the consequences are much more serious. I mean, bribery is bribery, fraud is fraud, but if it's done where it requires an indictment from a federal prosecutor, it's a little bit different, I think, than when it involves a county prosecutor, although that's not the case here in Atlanta with District Attorney Fani Willis, who brought charges against the filthy pig Donald Trump. But I digress. This indictment, I just want to talk about this for a second. This indictment was unsealed this morning, and it follows an investigation that started 3 years ago. And according to what I have here, the investigation focused, at least in part, on whether the mayor conspired with the Turkish government. Jesus Christ. The Turkish government, which is run by a wannabe dictator, Erdogan, a Turkish government, to receive illegal foreign campaign contributions, and whether or not he took action in the city of New York on behalf of the Turkish government as a tit for tat, you might say. And at that news conference this morning, the mayor said he had been demonized. I've been demonized. Oh, my God. And he urged New Yorkers to be patient. I asked New Yorkers to wait to hear our defense. I don't think any New Yorkers are going to stop whatever they're doing and listen intently to see what the soon-to-be former mayor has to say. But sure, everybody will hear what you got to say, Mayor Adams. I mean, what the hell? Anyway, the federal prosecutor said that Eric Adams, quote, sought and accepted improper valuable benefits since at least 2014. Since he was the Brooklyn Borough president. That's according to the indictment. 10 years, huh? Well, whatever. And the benefits, according to the indictment, included a luxury international travel, which involved free and discounted Turkish Airlines tickets to Turkey, free meals, hotel rooms, blah, 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 blah. All this stuff from wealthy foreigners and at least one Turkish government officials. He traveled on the airline even when it was inconvenient, according to the indictment, including a flight in 2017 to France from New York that first stopped in Istanbul. God damn these people. Now, according to the indictment, Adams went out of his way to try to hide all this, kind of like Sammy the Fish Alito and Uncle Clarence Thomas, the two thugs on the Supreme Court. They tried to hide this shit, right? Just like Trump has tried to do. Like I said, it doesn't make any difference. Black, white, it makes no difference. A con artist, whether it's a politician, somebody in the judiciary, a con artist is a con artist, period. But according to the indictment, Adams tried to hide the gifts or make them appear as if he had paid for them, according to the indictment. And also, according to the indictment, he deleted messages, text messages, and emails to cover up his actions. The value of the gifts exceeded $100,000, according to prosecutors. And in exchange for what he got from the Turkish government, Adams, as mayor, pressured officials at the New York Fire Department to open a new Turkish consular building in Manhattan. In spite of fire inspection issues, a fire department official who was overseeing the building's fire safety assessment said he was told he would lose his job if he didn't do what the mayor told him to do. Well, that adds kind of an interesting wrinkle, doesn't it? Anyway, in the indictment, let me go on a little bit more of this. This is in the Times this morning. But in the indictment, according to the New York Times, quote, as Adams' prominence and power grew, his foreign national benefactors sought to cash in on their corrupt relationships with him, particularly when in 2021 it became clear that Adams would become New York City's mayor. Adams agreed, providing favorable treatment in exchange for the illicit benefits he received, end quote. Well, now this all started this morning, right? If you watching the news, I don't know if you watch any news in the morning, maybe you're sensible enough not to, because it will really get your day off to a bang in the wrong way. I still do. I still tune into several news feeds in the morning when I wake up because I've got to know what's going on. But anyway, this morning, federal agents searched the official residence that would be at Gracie Mansion in New York. Nearly a dozen, this was about 5:30 this morning, and according to reports, about a dozen men and women dressed in business attire arrived in SUVs outside Gracie Mansion. And don't ask me why they were not dressed as law enforcement, with the usual jackets on that said U.S. Attorney's Office or FBI or whatever. But they showed up in business suits. A lawyer for Adams issued a statement today saying that the agents had come for the mayor's phone, even though investigators had taken some electronic devices from him last year. Jesus Christ. Now, his attorney, Adams' attorney, is Alex Spiro. In a statement to the media, Spiro said, quote, Federal agents appeared this morning at Gracie Mansion in an effort to create a spectacle and take Mayor Adams' phone. He has not been arrested and looks forward to his day in court. They send a dozen agents to pick up a phone when we would have happily turned it in. Right. Well, there you go. There's proof that the federal indictment is prejudicial, bullshit, should never have happened, and Eric Adams is as innocent as the Virgin Mary, right? I guess that's what we're supposed to believe from that statement from his attorney. Now, last night, apparently there was word leaked out that this shit was going to come down today. Last night, a number of elected officials called on Adams to resign, including, oh, here's a surprise, several Democrats running against him in next year's Democratic primary for mayor. Now, the governor, Kathy Hochul, has the power to remove him from office, but she has yet to comment on the indictment. And I doubt that she will. I mean, that would be, first of all, the racial overtones of such a move on the white governor's part against the black mayor of New York would be, it would be impossible to ignore that for the tabloid press and some of Eric Adams' defenders. So I doubt that the governor is going to remove him. I think she'll just let this play out and see what happens. Now, Eric Adams, of course, was screeching and farting and wheezing about his innocence. He said, quote, "I always knew that I stood my ground for New Yorkers and that I would be a target, and a target I became." Oh, that's so poetic. Sounds like Trump. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. White, black, president, mayor, governor, congressman, they all say the same bullshit when they know fucking well they're guilty. They know they're guilty, right? But, of course, according to our system of justice, it's up to the state or the feds or whomever to prove the guilt. Someone charged with a crime does not have to prove his or her innocence. That is a given in our system of justice. You are innocent until, right, proven guilty. Even though, in Trump's case, you're guilty as a son of a bitch for everything he's ever been charged with. You know this. I know this. Everybody knows this. But Trump, to use his favorite expressions, everybody knows this. But Trump understands how to work and pervert and twist the legal system in this country to his benefit, which he has done an exemplary job with for the past 4, 5, 6, 20 years, whatever. And Eric Adams is no stupid. He knows how to do it too, right? He knows how to twist the judicial system, the legal system in this country, to make it appear as if he is, I always knew that if I stood my ground for New Yorkers, I would be a target. Oh, give me a fucking break. Can't you? I just wonder why these people can't come up with a different kind of bullshit defense. And again, I don't care if they're white, black, Jew, Gentile. I don't give a shit. When they are charged with this shit, they all say the same thing. I always knew that if I stood my ground for fill in the blank, that I would be a target, and a target I became. Oh, for heaven's sake. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. The Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.